King Productions presents the BearDown Corner with your host, Sergeant Cornholio. Hey there, everybody. It's Sergeant Cornholio, and you are here for Season 2 of the BearDown Corner. We got Week 1 lineup, matchup, preseason action here for you with stories of the battling competitions happening around the league. Let's get you into it. The Dolphins still getting stuffed. And what I mean by that is a very simple statistic. Last season, they were last in the league in conversion rates of third and fourth down, under 50%. Okay, so the reason I bring this up, there was a situation in the 24-24 tie game with the Bears. All right, it was a back and forth contest. But the situation we are talking about is when they were within 9 yards of the end zone, blasted an 8-yard run and had 1 yard to go. And they went for it on fourth down. So they had 3 chances to shove that thing in. And in other points in the game, too, they also missed on trying to shove short yardage on 1 yard plays. By the way, that statistic is on like 1 yard plays, which is crucial when you're at goal line situations. They got shot down 3 times. So if I'm Miami, and head coach Mike McDaniels even said afterwards in the presser that they need to get better at that. He said that after the preseason game, and he said that at the beginning of the offseason when he was at the end of season recap. This is a known issue for this team. They are not physical enough. They have all the speed. They have all the athleticism. They aren't physical enough. And you're starting to see that now. They lost a few of their big boys over the last few years. Some of the other guys just aren't. They're all about speed and not enough about grit. Then you got divas like Tyreek Hill. But anyway, that's the Dolphins' problem. Saints quarterback competition. All right, so in one of the competing starting quarterback competitions around the league, the New Orleans Saints feature Spencer Rattler in one corner and Tyler Shaw in the other. The second round drafted quarterback versus the, I think he was like a 5th or 7th round pick. Either way, this kid was drafted the year before. They have no timeline. I'll just tell you straight up right now. The Saints quarterback competition is basically going to see who plays this year. That is it. Because at the end of this year, I'm pretty sure they're going to be either number 1 overall pick or a top 5 pick. If they are somehow more than that, I will be shocked. But when it comes down to the right now, Tyler Shaw's your man. Tyler Shaw's your man. If in game 1 preseason action, yes, it was against second strainers, some third strainers, whatever. The fact is, though, is this kid moved the ball with some growing pains. So as a Saints fan this season, you might want to bring out the paper bags. I'm sorry, Saints fans. It's not going to be the highlight season as you normally would hope. The days of Drew Brees are gone. And so is the hope. But hey, you know what? This kid, though, let me tell you why Tyler Shaw. So Rattler wasn't horrible. He was 7 of 11 for 53 yards. Tyler Shaw led the team down the field for a field goal right before the half. He comes out in the second half. First series, they punt. Second series, pick 6. Comes right back, touchdown. All right? He opens up a, what was it, a 54-yard touchdown to Mason Tipton in their loss to the Los Angeles Chargers, 27-13. He went 15 of 22 for 165 yards. If you are going to give yourself any chance this year, Shaw is fresh blood. He brings a little bit higher level of competitiveness, I believe, over a Spencer Rattler. Like, let's be honest. you're picking at a guy who probably won't start in this league. I don't think Spencer Rattler is a starting quarterback. I don't even think he's a backup quarterback. He's a third stringer at best. You'd be better off to go trade for Jameis Winston from the New York Giants. Start Tyler Shaw until he either gets injured or you just want to try and make a spark and you throw Jameis in. You know that Shaw might not be the long-term solution anyway. If you have a 10-plus win season, then Shaw's your guy of the future. But I don't think that's going to be the case. Now, with the stories of quarterbacks, we're going to move on to the quarterback of Jackson Dart. He played in the later stages of their victory over the Buffalo Bills in preseason week 1 action. This kid threw 12 of 19 for a 159 and 1 touchdown. And he looked very comfortable. And on that touchdown throw, he looked like, well, actually, the blitz was coming, and he stood in the pocket like a champ. He took a hit, and he launched that thing. Zippered it right into the guy's hands. So that brings optimism for the future. Do I think he's day one starter? No. But if you're halfway through the season and somehow Russ Wilson just isn't cutting it anymore, you might as well just practice your starting quarterback in the future, because you drafted this kid with the intent to develop him and for giving him the proper shot. This team has spent too much money on their defensive line, and that's an addition to this story as well. That defensive line looks scary. They were missing Dexter Lawrence. He didn't play. Just don't got to play all of them. But the rotational packages they did with Abdul Carter and the rest of Brian Burns and all of those guys. All right, they have a starting 4 with rotational backups that could probably be starters. The Giants aren't to sleep on, but there's still work to do. I don't think they're going to have an instant offense, but they have the pieces there. They do. But they still were dominant in the 39-25 win over the Buffalo Bills in preseason week 1 action. Let's not forget that. Jaguars fans, Travis Etienne got the nod in the week 1 game. So there's been competition at the running back slot in Jacksonville this offseason. Tank Bigsby, once again, like previous midseason last year, was being favored by certain people. Now, reports also that I read earlier in the offseason, Etienne was going to be given a fair shot. So what I believe happened, before we get way too off, we're just going to jump right to it like this. He got the week 1 nod. I'm sure Bigsby will get the week 2 nod. And whoever does the better of the two will probably get the higher percentage of the volume week 3. Unless they give that third guy last year that was used more in passing situations a shot, then maybe it's a 3-way dance. But either way, Liam Cohen is trying to figure out what he has at running back. So why not go and give a guy a solid full set of series out there? Travis Hunter looked all right out there on offense for his offensive positions. And yes, he did get used on defense. Not as much, though. I think it was 10 offensive snaps and 3 defensive snaps. But that kind of gives you a bit of an idea, right? If that's early signs, we'll get more in week 2. But if that's early signs for Travis Hunter, he'll be more wide receiver and more used in like specific passing situation only, probably defensive packages. Because if they get into a situation where they need their stars, he's on offense. They afforded the number 2 pick for the reason of you're an explosive player, but you're going to score us touchdowns first. So that is exciting. And also, to finish with Jacksonville, Cam Little. We mentioned this man because he booted a 70-yard field goal. A 70-yard field field goal. I'm pretty sure that's 4 over the NFL all-time season record or whatever the hell it is. This is preseason. But this kid isn't just some flash of the pan. He actually went 23 of 28 or 27 field goal attempts last year, but he made 23 field goals last year. And he comes out this year. I can see Jacksonville, as long as defense holds up, and maybe that, it's preseason, right? We're not going to know until we're at least a few little weeks into the regular season to get a bit of a feel for what's going on, right? The NFL really is like a days of our lives. It has all these different stories and everything else. And to continue with the story of Cam Little, it's exciting to see him, Travis Hunter, Trevor Lawrence, the running backs we've mentioned, and that entire defense that is ready to just turn a fresh page. Because this franchise has been in turmoil to some extent. They haven't had a lot of success. They made it to the AFC title game back in 97. They haven't really been past the divisional round since. So it's exciting times in Jacksonville. Cam Ward, the number 1 overall taken player in this year's draft, he didn't light the skies up, but he was 5 of 8 for 67 yards. Okay? He had some okay series in their first game of the year, and he looked to Calvin Ridley early on. He caught 3 of the balls for him for 50 yards. So it's clear to me that it's good they went and got Tyler Lockett because at the end of the day, that young man who, from everything I've come across for the reports, is dedicated. Like, he's in the office at 3 in the morning. He's giving it his all. He's treating this not just as football, but as like the job he's wanted to do, right? Like he is owning this moment. And if he continues putting in that kind of work, I'm scared of what the Titans could become in the future. For now, still a rookie. Let's see where he goes this year. But he has a veteran who is still in the prime in Calvin Ridley. So this could be one of those situations like Terry McLaurin and Cortland Sutton experienced last year with their rookie quarterbacks. They might not win and go to playoffs, but they should compete. I think they're going to compete, the Tennessee Titans. Early signs are just too favorable for it not to. Moving along, Rachaad White, running back, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He is injured, which is bad for him because he was already just fighting for the number 2 spot on the running back depth chart. Bucky Irving, is going to be the starting running back. It was a battle between Rachaad White, the vet, in the sense of, 3-4 seasons in now. He had the starting role. He lost at the end of last year. He's fighting off Sean Tucker. The rookie came on hot last year. He had a great game when him and Mr. Bucky Irving had a blowout game in New Orleans. But this kid averages 6.2 yards on 50 attempts last year. He has to be looked at as a viable option in this offense. If you're not looking at him, you're doing yourself a disservice. So, yeah, that's too bad. Number 2 running back position up for grabs in Tampa Bay. Jets are starting off good so far with the reconstructed offensive line, now looking as one of the strongest units in the league in comparison as far as age and overall, product of value per player, right? Like, this is an offensive line with all pro players and first round picks, and they looked strong in their preseason debut. They didn't necessarily light up the scoreboard. They had one drive, I think it was, but they looked good. Justin Fields completed 3 of 4 passes. He was 42 yards, and then he ran in a 13-yard rushing touchdown. So the thing that scares me about this offense, and it's because of something I noticed on that touchdown run, is number 32, Braylon Allen, for the Jets, at running back, who I think can challenge Breece Hall for starting position. Why do I say this? He ran his route, by the way, this is a quote-unquote passing play. Whether it was a design run play, I do not know. But I watched the highlight of this rushing touchdown. But I watched the running back. He runs his up, over, and far corner slot. Okay? He ran this corner post, and he kept running, and he had two defenders completely like thinking, oh, it's going to him, it's going to him. No. Justin Fields free running in. The closest guy was maybe an arm length away or two. Like, he was untouched. Justin Fields holds a special place to me as a Bears fan. All right, I'll just admit that. But he has a legitimate shot of locking this starting position down. He's already signed into next year as well. See, because he's there on a 2-year deal. And if there is ever a time for him to claim, it is now. He has no competition. He's been given the keys to the driver's seat. He stays healthy. Jets starting quarterback is his all year long. Offensive line is looking solid. You have a dual threat at running back. Your wide receivers, you don't have a slack group there. You have some guys that know how to catch some balls. And Garrett Wilson, let's just be honest, he is a number 1 receiver in the NFL. He is. And he is the New York Jets' number 1 receiver. So I think that the fact that he has legitimate weapons, a legitimate offensive line, it's up to this kid now in his 4th year, 5th year, at this point, whatever the hell it is, to finally say, I am a starting quarterback. If he doesn't get it done in the Jets, he's done. He's done. This is his last opportunity to really pull the trigger and say, I am a starting quarterback. If you would have went 6-1 last year in Pittsburgh, we wouldn't even be having this discussion. But they started off hot, and then he had a few falters, then they won again, and then Russ Wilson took over because we have to give the vet, the opportunity. And that was it. Now he's a Jet. And moving on. Shedeur Sanders, Browns quarterback, 5th round pick. Got extended playtime this week. Why? Dylan Gabriel, hamstring. Kenny Pickett, God knows what injury this guy fucking has now. He played well, actually. I was impressed. I seen highlights of it, and I read all the reports and that crap. He did well. He did well, considering he didn't turn the ball over. He threw 2 touchdowns. He had 138 yards passing, went 14 of 23. For rookie numbers, that's good. I'll take that any day of the week. Kept them competitive against the Panthers. And that's another thing. The Panthers, they had their starters out there against the Brown backup defense, but they look good too. McMillan to Teroa McMillan, their 1st round draft pick from this year, had a very nice 30-yard touchdown catch against that team. So big-bodied receiver for your quarterback, and Bryce Young, very good pickup. He should probably be a day 1 starter, opposite of Xavier Legette. And Coker comes up as the wide receiver 3. You might have a possibility where you have Adam Thielen as trade bait, or you just have Adam Thielen as number 4, and he's just there. Either way, you have a plethora of talent that is there to play now. Young's developed a better understanding of the game after being benched last year and slowed things down. So, you know what, Browns? You got some answers. Maybe Shedeur Sanders should be looked at a little more, though. Right? We're going to go back to the Browns side of this game now. Shedeur Sanders should be looked at a little bit more. Maybe he challenges for number 2. Let's just be honest. The Browns' number 1 quarterback job is going to be Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco is day 1 starter. He's going to be given that opportunity until they're at a position that it doesn't matter anymore. They're out of playoffs. And they turn it over to Sanders. Unless Gabriel comes out and just outshines the shit out of, whatever Sanders has been doing in the preseason, these reps are crucial to guys' jobs. They're crucial. So every missed snap you have, you could be out of a job next week. I'm sure Gabriel will stay on the roster, but Pickett, he could be on his way out. I don't think you keep Kenny Pickett as a 4th string quarterback and pay him that money and give up a roster spot nonetheless. Because at that point, it's just ridiculous. But yet Deshaun Watson's still on the roster, but I think he's IR whatever regulated or some shit. Either way, the Browns quarterback competition battle, it's just a shit show, but to be honest, I don't think it's a competition. Joe Flacco is going to take number 1. This is a competition for backup. And I think you got to take a look at Sanders. But quarterback of the New England Patriots, Drake May, didn't maybe do a lot passing this weekend, but he did show another impressive trait of his, and that's running. As he broke off for an 11-yard scamper to get the first down, and then 3 plays later runs in for the touchdown. Oh, amen. This is exciting for Pats fans in the fact that Josh McDaniels has always wanted to add a running element to his play calling. Never really got to because it was Tom Brady. Right? And then finally they had Cam Newton when he was in New England as well. And they added a little bit. But this is a developed, physically gifted athlete at quarterback that can make the run plays you desire. So I wouldn't sleep too much on the Patriots this year. I think the AFC East is going to be more competitive than people think. Now at looking at how things are, coming together, right? Got the Jets with Justin Fields and the offense looking good. Paired that with the defense that was already good with an Aaron Glenn head coach defensive mindset. Yeah, no, I think the Jets are going to be competitive. The Patriots are going to be competitive. The Bills most likely still going to win division, but will have to be competitive now, more so than not. I think the Dolphins take a back seat this year. I think that it goes Bills, between New England and Jets, I don't really give a shit who. And then Dolphins at the bottom this year in the AFC East. Bengals starting their starters is our final story. So the reason I wanted to talk about this one is because this is very important for what was a top 5, if not top 3 offense last year. They didn't make playoffs. They missed it at 9-8. But they're coming in with their wide receiver group locked in for the next 3-4 years. They have their quarterback, obviously. Offensive line, whatever. Offensively, this team, they're going to score. They will not be denied. They will score. But it took them a while to get off to that start last year, though. So head coach decides to implement his starters, and they looked flawless. It was against the backups, but they looked flawless. But defensively, This team is in trouble. This team is in trouble. They had starters. They had about half or better of their defense that was out there were starters in their preseason opener. And they looked bad against backups. So if I'm Cincy, I am hoping and praying you figure out how to get Trey Hendrickson out there. Because I'm just going to say I don't think he played because of that. He's a vet, but you know what? He needs to be out there too if they're going to be playing their starters. And they get their rookie out there, get him up to speed, get him signed and locked. Like, quit screwing around here, Cincy. Your Achilles heel is defense, and you are dropping the ball with what could be one of the greatest offenses of all time. Because Joe Burrow is ready to have his time now. All right? But he can't do that without at least you guys able to make a few stops a game and not get steamrolled by backups. Problems in Cincinnati, I don't know where to even look at placing that. But offensively, you can take any of their guys on fantasy and probably be fine. So, anyway, that's going to cut it for us today here at the BearDown Corner. I'm Sergeant Cornholio. Thank you so much for joining us for Episode 1, Season 2 of the podcast. You can catch us live every Tuesday morning at 6 o'clock General Mountain Time, 9 o'clock Eastern in the East Coast. Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and of course, YouTube. Take care, be safe, and we'll catch you here next week on the BearDown Corner.